Yo, what is up guys? Now as many of you would know, I've been looking at changing the color on my wheels for a while now, and today's the day we're going to decide on a color, and I need your help for that. So what we're going to do is Photoshop a few different colors onto these wheels, see how they look, and hopefully you guys can provide a bit of input as to what you think looks good, and then we can start actually painting them. So let's get to it. The first step is to select your wheel. Now to do this I used the elliptical selection tool and then used free transform on the selection to cater it exactly to fit the wheel. And as you can see, that worked really well. And then what you do is you right click that selection and turn it into a new layer. I used via copy. And once you've got this wheel selected and in a new layer, you have to go through and delete the gaps in between the spokes. For this I used the lasso tool and just traced around it with my mouse. You can opt to use the feathering and contrast to make it a little less harsher, the edges that is, but it's not entirely necessary, especially for this picture because the wheels are a lot smaller. But once you've selected it and decided on your masking properties, you just go ahead and hit delete so that it's deleted from the layer. You can also go ahead and delete your center caps and your lug nuts from this layer because you don't want them to change color with your wheels. After you've got your wheel outlined to your liking and made a few adjustments over the initial pass, you go ahead and double click the layer of the wheel in that layer bar to the right there, and that'll bring up a big set of options. And what we do is we click color overlay, and from here on out it's basically a matter of just playing around with the settings to get the color you want. Because you know, if you want, for example in this instance, silver wheels, I couldn't just overlay silver and be done with it. I had to overlay grey, choose a certain opacity, and figure out which blending mode worked the best. When I move on to the other colors, I ended up having to choose different blending modes and different colors with different levels of opacity. So this part's just a matter of playing around with it really. If my wheels were initially white or silver, this would obviously be a lot easier with, you know, less playing around required, but because they're grey, that's not the case. In order to get this silver, which I was very happy with, it ended up being essentially pure white with a 78% opacity, and the blending mode was hard mix. Next up, we've got to bring the rear wheel up to speed. Now I was pretty lazy and only selected the front wheel at the start. It actually makes more sense to select both wheels at the very start and put them into the same layer. That way you can apply the same color overlay across that one layer instead of having to switch between two layers and essentially do the color overlay process twice. That being said, it's really easy on Photoshop because it actually saves your preferences. So as you can see, I double clicked the layer for the rear wheel to bring up the layer styles again, and as soon as I click color overlay, it applies the previous selection I had on the front wheels. Oh boy, does that look good. I am really happy with how the silver looks. I've been wanting to go for a lighter color for a while now because I don't think this dark grey showcases the wheels as well as they should, and that's just what comes with having a darker, stealthier looking color on your wheels. I used to have white Advans on my car prior to this, and I really did miss having that stark contrast that really showcases the wheels. I do end up creating a white Photoshop of these wheels too, and you know, I think they look great. Silver, however, has that slightly maturer look to it, and I think it does age a little better, requires a little less cleaning because the brake dust doesn't show up as bad as it would on a white set of wheels. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I'll show you guys what the rest of the colors look like. You know, they all required their own little amounts of playing around on the color overlay setting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do to change your colors, the color of your wheels, and it's really easy, it's simple, it doesn't take too long. The hardest part is probably just masking up the wheels and getting them selected into their own layer. But once you've done that, you're golden. Let me know what you guys think looks the best, what your favorite color option is, and as soon as I've chosen a color, we'll get the ball rolling and start prepping the wheels. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so, especially if you've made it this far. Thank you so much again to everyone who supports the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
You say you got them guns, but I've never seen you back.